Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Anita Spring. I am a retired teacher and curriculum developer from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I have been asked by our Woogi Nigeria representatives, Dr. Cad and Augusta, to help answer a question that people have asked, many of you have asked, and that question is, why should every parent add Woogi to their child's education? Or more personally, you might have asked, why should I add Woogi to my child's education? In this video, I am going to do my best to respond to that question. In my opinion, the response is both simple and complex. I'll begin with the simple answer by saying that if it's important to you that your child has access to the best English learning tool available, then it is important for your child to have Woogi. That alone, if you think about it, may be enough. It comes down to your values. And if you already understand the value of English proficiency in today's interconnected world, where most of the information on the internet is in fact in English, and probably in Nigeria, like in many other countries where English is not the native language, the best jobs are available to those who do have a proficiency in the English language, the best paying jobs and the most creative jobs. If you already understand this, then you understand the importance and the value of Woogi as being arguably the best tool available for your child to gain that proficiency in English. If, however, you want additional reassurance that comes with knowing more, I can provide what I hope will be compelling reasons for opting to give your child the Woogi experience. Before I begin, however, I would like you to consider this. Imagine that in 2 years from now, your child has a good competency in English and is confident to use it. Now, imagine that in 2 years from now, your child is only competent to the extent that their current English education provides. And I submit that if they were to study Woogi English for a year or 2 years, or be part of Woogi for those 2 years, their competency and proficiency in English would be much better. In either case, the 2 years will have gone by and your child will be 2 years older, because time does not wait for anyone. The difference lies in the decision that you make now. Will your child have proficiency in English or not? You have the choice to help create 2 different outcomes for your child. If you do something positive now, everything could change. If you do nothing now, nothing will change. It really is your choice. Now, as I promised, here are some of the things to consider about Woogi when you are deciding which course of action to take. Now, Woogi is kid-driven, which means your child is in control of the speed and intensity with which they engage in the learning process. All the while, they are being encouraged and guided by the structure and interactions within Woogi itself. So it's kind of like having a tutor for your child, an English tutor for your child, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where the child can learn at their own pace, in their own way, make as many mistakes or go as quickly as possible, whatever they want to do, they can go back and repeat. It's kid-driven, which means the child is in control of their learning. And that's very important. If you think about a classroom full of children, some are faster than others, some aren't engaged, some are passed over. With Woogi English, every child has an equal opportunity to have the full Woogi experience whenever they want it, for however long they want it. I think that's very important. And Woogi is also game-based. Now, I know that in today's world, games are a big part of a child's life. I imagine in Nigeria too, this is the case. But what games do is they engage the child in a way which is fun, and it would be likely familiar to them. The whole game structure is probably familiar to them in some way. Now, like all games, Woogi English is challenging, and it requires the child to learn how it operates. Okay, so it is not absolutely important that you or your child understand every working part of Woogi English before you begin. It all unfolds, and the child has to figure out how everything operates. And that gives them a sense of accomplishment when they do that. And it's not all that hard. The children will probably do it a lot more quickly than you or I could ever do it. Now, that gives them a reward. That sense of accomplishment of figuring out how it works is reward in itself. And you will find throughout Woogi, there are all kinds of rewards and evaluations, self-evaluations that the child can engage in, and that's very important. It's not like sitting in a classroom for a month and then having a test at the end and you either pass or fail. With Woogi English, you can try, you can fail, you can try again, you can get it right. You move on when you are confident that you understand and that you have proficiency in whatever task you have been provided with. So that's really important as far as I'm concerned. And Woogi English has been developed over many years, adhering to strict guidelines for English language learning. It employs various learning techniques like visual recognition of images and words and auditory recognition of words. And the children are encouraged to listen and speak, and they can even record themselves speaking words and phrases, and then they get to play it back so that they can listen to their own voice, and if they're satisfied with it, they can save it and move on. If they're not satisfied, they can re-record it, and they can do that as many times as they want. And what a great way to practice. And repetition, we all know repetition is very, very important in the learning process. So if a child has to go back and do something a couple of times over, actually that's all the better because they're learning it that much better. Okay, so the best way to learn is to fail and do it again. All right, and this provides that opportunity. Typical classroom learning. I was a teacher, remember, and in typical classroom learning, the child doesn't have as many chances to get something wrong and keep trying and keep practicing until they become proficient in something. So this really answers that or speaks to that problem of traditional learning. Now, Woogi English, it does not replace other teaching methods. I'm sure that if your child is taking English in the classroom, it's wonderful and they're learning great vocabulary and they're learning a lot of things and they are learning English. But even if that is the case, Woogi English supplements and complements whatever your child is doing now. It does not replace it. It is not meant to replace it. It can replace it if that's what you like, but it certainly supplements and complements anything that a child is doing now. And any exposure to the English language and any chance to use it should be welcome. Okay? Now, I think that the idea of providing Woogi to you and your children is important because what it does is it offers you a choice. And all we want to do here is to give you the choice to decide whether or not Woogi English can be of value to your child. And if it can, then really the choice at this point is yours. As I said before, you can do something now, which is get Woogi for your child. And if you do, then anything is possible. Okay, you really give your child a foot up in the world and in their life and in their career. If you do nothing, then nothing will change. Your child will be 2 years older. Your child will have passed through 2 formative years in their educational um, career, and they will have missed out on all that they could have learned with Woogi English. So really, the choice is yours. I hope that I have been able to give you some good reasons why choosing Woogi English for your child would be a good choice. But I think it should be an obvious choice. Will you secure this opportunity for your child now and help us make a brighter future for everybody? Or will you let it pass? I think that you know which will be the best choice for you. And I thank you for listening, and I look forward to doing more videos on some of the details, the technical details, and the ins and outs of Woogi English and even Woogi Create, and that you will be part of our family and that you will be watching those videos too. So thank you very much for being here, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.